Welcome to Health Matters. I'm Kathy Andrews. Today we're discussing diabetes. Now, if you don't have diabetes, I'm sure you know someone who does. If it's not a family member, I'm sure it's a friend. So let me share some facts with you before we start talking about it. 29 million Americans are diabetic. 1 in 4 don't know they have it. Approximately 1 in 8 African Americans in South Carolina has diabetes. The 16th highest rate of diabetes among African Americans in the nation. There's a dramatic increase that can be seen among those 45 years of age or older. It's the 7th leading cause of death in South Carolina after heart disease, cancer, and stroke. About 70% of adults with diabetes have high blood pressure. In 2006, 3 to 4 people died each day from diabetes. That's 1 death from diabetes every 7 hours and 33 minutes. If you don't have diabetes, you probably don't know you have it, but there are some things that can help you, like physical activity. Now, if you think you might have it, you have more of a chance of having it if you have a first-degree relative with diabetes. Members of a high-risk ethnic population, you might have it. African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans. If you have hypertension, you might have it. If you have high cholesterol, you might have it. Well, we've got 2 folks who know a lot about diabetes with us here in the studio. First is Dr. Bismarck Amor with Family Health Centers in Orangeburg. He's an internist. He did his residency at Harlem Hospital. He's won numerous awards in renal research, written a number of publications. He's a PhD in pharmacology and an MD. We also have a person with us, Willie Jackson. He's director of sports. Willie Johnson. And he is a director of sports here at WSSB FM. And he's going to tell us about his story of being a diabetic. And he's from a family of diabetics. So tell me, first question, Dr. Amor, why are we seeing so much diabetes, especially here in South Carolina?
Well, thank you, Ms. Andrews. Diabetes, it's a disease of lifestyle and genetics. And if you look at the modern lifestyle, it is perfectly suited for diabetes. Let me take you a little bit back to history. A doctor who worked in the Roman Empire will probably see only 2 diabetics throughout his life. Today, a doctor working in modern day America will see about 10 to 20 diabetics in his clinic every day. This is because the lifestyle has changed so much. Modern lifestyle is sedentary. The food encourages diabetes. There is no activity. And then if you combine it with the fact that it is related to genetics, some people are predisposed to getting it, then you can see why there is so much diabetes.
It's what we eat. We eat a lot of rice. We eat a lot of grits. Somebody told me the other day grits have no nutritional value at all, but we got to have grits with the morning breakfast, right? And we got to have a lot of white bread, and it's just the Southern way. But that Southern way is slowly killing us. Is
exactly.
That right?
That's the point.
That's right. And we're also seeing children with type 2 diabetes, whereas at one time we never saw that. Now we're seeing children, right?
If you look at the time you were in school, children used to do a lot of activities. They ran around, they played, they didn't drink so much soda, they didn't eat all these snacks filled with carbohydrates and sweets. These days, the kids do only that, and their activity level is very little. All they do is play.
They're on the iPad all
computer
day long.
Games, no activity. So they're eating all these energy-rich foods, drinking all these sodas packed with sugar, and they are not exercising. They are not doing any activity. So they are like miniature adults. Their lifestyle encourages them putting on a lot of body fat, and the more body fat you put on, the more likely you are to develop diabetes.
And they say this generation is going to be the first generation where the parents will outlive the children. Is that correct?
That is
because
probably
of our
correct.
lifestyle.
Exactly.
Now, Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry. I don't know why I want to call you Jackson. But now, you grew up in a family of diabetics. There's a genetic component also. So tell me about your story.
Well, about a couple of years ago, I was noticing everything was all right with my body at the time. And then, I had a funny feeling in my feet. One of my left toe started secreting some fluid out of it, and it was kind of toxic. So when it got bad, I had to peel off the skin on it, and then, my toe started feeling better. But then all of a sudden, it shifted to my right toe, and if I started peeling the skin from that, it started would get better, but that wasn't the case. And then I noticed in my left tube sock, it was starting to, the stain was getting more dark, with like a grayish-looking fluid. So my mother took me to the hospital, and they was diagnosing me, and then I found out I was a diabetic, and then I had to have my toe amputated. I was hoping at that time that would be the only thing that happened, but they started raising up above my leg, and thank goodness it wasn't my whole leg that got amputated, it was just the lower part. So now here I am up and walking. I had to go through quite a process to get back to walking, and improving my eating and everything. And thank goodness I no longer do sodas. I no longer do all those snacks. Everything's been cut down to a minimum. It's more the healthy stuff. Every day during lunch, I have a salad, and then I'll have something different for dinner, but it's not the high level of cholesterol or anything. So it's a fight, but, I'm still trying to maintain.
But there is a genetic component. Is that not correct, Dr. Amora?
Yeah, that is correct. Usually, you will see that a lot of your family members also have diabetes, and that should warn you that probably you're also predisposed to diabetes. So when you see the telltale signs of diabetes and you have a lot of family members who have diabetes, it is probably in your best interest to go get checked.
And does diabetes mean that you have a higher risk of other complications?
Exactly. The main complications of diabetes, it's its effect on the other body organs. It mainly affects circulation, especially blood supply, to our brain, to our heart, to our limbs. In the case of Mr. Johnson, he was telling you that he noticed these things on his limbs. Probably the diabetes had been going on for some time, and he was seeing the complications of the diabetes affecting the circulation, the blood supply in the limbs, causing the poor circulation, poor nutrition in the limbs. You develop sores in your limbs, which is difficult to treat. If you develop a small wound on your limb because of the poor circulation and the high sugar in the tissue, the wound is difficult to heal. And unfortunately, most of the time it results in amputation if it is not detected very early. Usually, people will see that they have diabetes before they develop these complications, but it is not uncommon to see the complications of diabetes at the first sign. Like in the case of Mr. Johnson, he saw the complications before he even knew he has diabetes.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about the symptoms, because someone out there may be having symptoms and not aware that they're diabetic or pre-diabetic. So we'll be right back talking with Dr. Amora and also Mr. Johnson about his experience as a diabetic. We'll be right back.
Right now, millions of adults are uninsured and are in need of healthcare services. Healthcare Outcomes, which is a free program, is now accepting and released. Applicants must be 18 years of age or older without healthcare insurance and have one or more of the following conditions: behavioral health disorders, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, kidney disease, hypertension, COPD, or sickle cell. For more information on the program or to schedule an appointment, contact Family Health Centers Incorporated at 803-531-6900. Our hours of operations are Monday through Friday, 8 to 8 p.m. and Saturday, 8 to 3 p.m.
B90.3 FM, your official home for all of the excitement of South Carolina State Bulldog football. September 17th, it's a Thursday night throwdown as Coach Buddy Pugh and the Bulldogs take on the Rattlers of Florida A&M. The Bulldogs will try to get back on the winning track after suffering their first loss of the season to Coastal Carolina. The broadcast begins with a pregame show at 6:45, followed by kickoff at 7:30 p.m. The game will also be televised nationally on ESPNU. It's the second nationally televised game for SC State. Join Ernest Robinson and Bobby Gist for all the play-by-play action on the South Carolina State Bulldog Football Network and your home for SC State Bulldogs, B90.3 FM. We are SC State.
Hi, this is former Miss South Carolina State University, Sadia Robinson, and you're listening to WSSB 90.3 FM.
Welcome back to Health Matters. I'm Kathy Andrews. We're talking with Dr. Amore with Family Health Centers and Mr. Johnson. He has diabetes. We were talking about the symptoms and the types of diabetes. Can you tell me about the symptoms? If someone's out there, they're in their car, they're driving, and they're thinking, well, I might have diabetes. What do you look for?
Well, even though there are several types of diabetes, almost always all the symptoms are the same. The doctors describe them as polydipsia, that is, first the patient will notice that he's drinking a lot of water, then polyuria, which means you go into the bathroom a lot, you're urinating a lot, and then polyphagia, you're eating a lot or feeling hungry a lot, and then weight loss. So you're a healthy person, all of a sudden you see that you're urinating a lot, you're drinking a lot, you're feeling hungry all the time, and then you're losing weight for no apparent reason. It is usually, this is the classic presentation of diabetes, and it is always will be in your best interest to go get checked up when you see this symptom. And because you are drinking and peeing all the time, you are not able to match the amount of fluid you are losing, so you get dehydrated, and that makes you feel very tired. Because even though you're drinking all the time, you're peeing more than you're drinking. So you're not able to catch up with the amount of fluid you are losing through your urine. That makes you very dehydrated.
But what causes it, Dr. Amore? What causes that? Because, you see skinny people, you see little people overweight who have diabetes. And what is it?
Okay, diabetes is mainly a disease of sugar. Too much sugar in the blood. And there is too much sugar in the blood because the body is not able to use it, because the insulin, which is the main hormone responsible for helping the body to mobilize the insulin and mobilize the sugar, is not functioning. Either there is not any insulin being produced, or there's less insulin being produced, or the insulin being produced, the body is not responding to it. Okay, the body's response to the insulin is defective. So you have a lot of sugar floating around in your blood, but your body can't use it. So the sugar spills into your urine, and you have to pee it off. And because sugar is a large particle, it has to come out with a lot of water. It has to be diluted. So it attracts a lot of water from your body in order to leave your body. And that is what causes the excessive urination and hence the dehydration.
So what we eat has a lot to do with it. Is that right?
Exactly.
Do you think that was the case with you, Willie?
Pretty much the case, because, well before all this happened to me, I used to consume a lot of, the fast foods and everything. And, I didn't care too much about, eating right and eating properly. So, when that caught up with me, I was like, I have to think, what do I have to do? And I was educated by not only doctors, but my younger brother who studied stuff about this, and after that, I said, you know what? I have to do this so that I can still be here, because eating healthy is the right thing. I consume salads nowadays. Fried foods, no. Snacks like potato chips and sodas is a no. So I'm used to it.
How do you survive in Orangeburg, South Carolina without it? I mean, there's a fast food restaurant on every corner. You got fried foods. You got a lot of, Burger King, McDonald's, French fries, you got salt, you got sugar, you got soda pop everywhere. You know, you can hardly find water. And then when you go to the work related event, Dr. Moore, you'll know that the other day I saw you in the lounge, and you said, "Don't bother me." I don't know if you had some cake in your plate or not, but don't bother me now. I'm eating. And but you know, should we be vegans? Now that's a naughty word. The producer here, Clarence, was just saying, vegan. What are you talking about?
Not necessarily. We shouldn't be vegans, but we should watch carefully our intake of especially carbohydrates. And carbohydrates are the corn, bread, especially the white bread, rice, potatoes. All these foods are carbohydrates, and when they get into your body, they break down, they become sugar and allow your sugar to go up. It also gets stored as fat and allow you to gain a lot of weight. So if your activity level doesn't match the amount of intake, then the more fat you put on, the more you're predisposed to the diabetes, especially if you have the family history and everything to go with it. And then also don't forget what we drink. The sweet tea is nothing but sugar. And then the soda.
Oh, I can't drink sweet tea? I'm in the South. Come on now, sweet tea.
That is sugar.
Let me say this, you know, you just alluded to a lot of restaurants. Well, my place of residence right now, I'm just a short walk away from them, and I don't go to them. But if I was to go to a McDonald's or a Wendy's, I'm not looking at the fried stuff. I'm looking at salads. That's what I do. You have to have a little discipline for yourself when you consume foods, you know, from these restaurants. I go for a salad. I do not go for anything fried anymore.
So you can't eat healthy when you go to these fast food restaurants.
Exactly.
You know, you can get the salad instead of the French fries, and you know, you don't have to have the cheeseburger. And when you start eating healthy, you don't want to eat it. You don't want to eat that food. It doesn't taste as good.
No, it doesn't. I can identify with that.
Don't forget the drink too, because these days we have the supersized cups of iced tea, soda, and you can get all the refills you want. In fact, that is one of the bane of modern society. And
drinking soda.
People think when they're drinking, they're not eating. Talk to a lot of my patients, say, "Oh, I didn't eat anything," but they've drank about 3 or 4 supersized
and they give you the supersize, you know,
of sweet tea.
Yeah,
and that is equally as evil as eating all these foods that we're talking about.
Okay, on that note, we're going to talk more about drinking when we come right back. Stay tuned to Health Matters. We'll be right back.
Do you know the symptoms of a stroke? Blurred vision, difficulty speaking, dizziness, weakness in the arms and legs, and loss of balance are all symptoms of a stroke. If you think you're experiencing a stroke, time is essential in the prevention of long-term disability. Family Health Center wants to prevent a stroke from happening to you. More information about stroke prevention and Family Health Center is available at myfhc.org or 803-531-6900.
Learn lessons that go beyond the classroom, like how to challenge yourself, to think strategically, and to lead. When you register for Army ROTC and take ROTC course electives, you'll be on that path. And as an Army ROTC cadet, you will be eligible for a full tuition scholarship and a monthly allowance. Army ROTC helps you become a leader and eliminates the need to worry about how to pay for your education. When you graduate and complete Army ROTC, you will start your career as an officer in the U.S. Army, Army Reserve, or Army National Guard. Start ready to learn. Start ready to lead. Start ready for the future. Start strong. To find out more, visit your Army ROTC representative. To find out how you can earn a 3-year scholarship, call 803-533-3604 or visit the Department of Military Sciences at 300 College Street. There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong, paid for by the United States Army.
Hello, I am Major Kenneth McMaster, Deputy Chief of Police at South Carolina State University Police Department, and I am your weekly host and producer of Walking the Beat. Now listen to this. These are the sounds of someone taking their eyes off the road. Texting while driving is more than distracting, it's dangerous. Do us all a favor. When you're on the road, stay off the phone as much as possible. Folks, the new law says it is unlawful for a person to use a wireless electronic communication device to compose, send, or read a text-based communication while operating a motor vehicle on the public streets and highways of the state of South Carolina. A person who is suspected or believed to be in violation of the provision of this section must be fined not more than $25, and no part of this fine may be suspended. Folks, texting while driving makes us nearly 3 times more likely to get into a car crash than those who don't. Despite this danger, recent research suggests that 4 out of 5 college students have done so anyway. So folks, choose not to text and try not to be distracted by other electronic devices while driving. Choose to drive in a responsible manner that is safe and free of all distractions. Choose to drive to stay alive, and it will always be a great day in Big Bulldog Land. This is Major Kenneth McMacaster, Deputy Chief of Police at South Carolina State University on WSSB 90.3 on your radio dial.
This is Paul Bryant, Director of Athletics at South Carolina State University. When I'm out and about, I keep my station locked to B90.3 FM.
Welcome back to Health Matters. I'm Kathy Andrews. Today we're talking about diabetes with Dr. Amour with Family Health Centers and Mr. Willie Johnson, Director of Sports at WSSB FM. He is also diabetic. We were talking about what to drink. Now, I had a Coke at my desk. Unfortunately, I know how bad it is. And I had a doctor pass my office and she looked at behind. She said, "Oh, look at the fructose. Look at the sugar. Look at what you're drinking." And I'm like, okay, I just need a little caffeine. Come on now. But what do you drink? My sister bought me this ugly green stuff. Okay, you think if it's ugly, it's good for you, but I showed it to one of the doctors at Family Health Centers. It had sugar in it, although on the front it said no sugar added, but on the back had 30 grams of sugar. So what do we do? Do we just drink water all the time? What do we do?
See, a lot of people have the impression that if a drink is clear, then it is healthy. But when you're buying any drink, look on the label. If it says high fructose corn syrup, that is sugar. Okay, that is all the sugar in there. So whether it is typical soda, Coke, Pepsi, the clear ones, they all contain high fructose corn syrup. And that is what causes most of the problems that we are facing. So when you buy a drink, look on it.
Well, if that's the case, then I can't. The only thing I can drink is water.
Exactly.
Is that right? Water.
Isn't that what God created? Water.
Water.
Okay.
Water. Is that what you drink?
I drink lots of it every day. Matter of fact, I collaborate along my station manager, and he gets water. I'm perfectly happy drinking water. It's life. It's not factory made like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all the soft drinks you see advertised on TV, because that's another reason why, I'm an amputee now, because there was a time I used to consume a lot of it. But nowadays, I feel a lot better. I'm more content drinking water, whether I add the little flavor packs to it or not. I'm more content to drinking water than I ever am drinking diet sodas. I don't miss them. I don't drink them anymore. I feel a lot better.
Well, congratulations. I haven't reached that point yet, but hopefully I will soon. But water also cleanses the system. Is that right? It's like it's a detox. Yeah. Because I remember I had to go in for a physical, so I said, well, I'm going to drink a lot of water. And not only did I lose weight, but I felt better. But then I got back into my Coke thing, so. But anyway, let's talk about the types of diabetes. Because there are different types. There's type 1, there's type 2.
Yeah, to give you a quick breakdown of the types of diabetes, it's being grouped into these things to help doctors and then patients to distinguish between these and make life easy for everybody. Usually type 1 diabetes occurs in children, comes about mainly as a result of the lack of insulin. The body is not able to produce its own insulin. For some reason, the pancreas may be diseased or has an inability to produce insulin. So this happens very early. It's partially inherited because it's a pancreatic disease. This is only about less than 10% of all diabetics. Like I said, usually occurs in children. Now, the main type of diabetes, which is the bane of our society today, is type 2 diabetes. This is a result of either inadequate amount of insulin or poor response of the body cells to the insulin that is present. So they've got insulin insensitivity as well as body insensitivity to the insulin that we are producing. And this is because we are putting on a lot of body fat. The greater amount of body fat that you have, the more you are likely to have insulin resistance or poor cell response to the insulin that your body is producing. And this is what leads to the diabetes. That's why you see it mostly in adults, because we grow up, we put on the fat, then we create the problems. As I said earlier, there is also a familiar component. So if you've got the predisposition and you put on the fat and your activity doesn't match or the amount of fat you're putting on, then you tend to develop type 2 diabetes.
So the way you're talking, we can reverse diabetes by what we eat and what we put in our bodies.
Exactly. By what we eat and our activity level, we may be able to reduce type 2 diabetes to the Roman times if we are able to eat and work like they did.
In Willie's case, you've got a family history of diabetes, though. So there's a genetic factor there.
Exactly. However, I've been doing a lot to reverse the process. I've taken it as the word healthy. If you break it down, it's really 2 words: heal thy. The way you heal yourself, cut away the potatoes, especially the white potatoes, because all that's even white for you is not good. The fried foods, all of the restaurants, stay far away from them unless they have salads. Drink plenty of water, get exercise. It's better you do the right thing, and also stay up on your medicines. Don't skip a day without it. Don't do anything that's going to hinder your health. The number one thing to do is heal yourself. That's why the word healthy, you break it down, is heal thy. I learned that from a brother. He was right, and I'm doing just those things. So, so long potato chips, fried food, everything, just do what's right.
What about Dr. Moore?
Just to add this in passing, there's also some other types of diabetes which time will not allow us to discuss, but there's also a gestational diabetes. That is in women who get pregnant. They never had diabetes before they got pregnant, but then during the pregnancy, they develop diabetes. Usually this goes away with delivery, but occasionally in a few patients it will linger on. And then there are some other types that are due to all kinds of genetic mutations or diseases that time will not allow us to discuss.
And that's when they come to you,
right? That's
for expert advice.
So my main advice to a lot of folks is that get checked regularly for sugar. Especially when you see some of these signs and symptoms that I described earlier on. If you're drinking water too much for no apparent reason, if you're peeing too much for no apparent reason, if you're feeling hungry for no apparent reason, if you're losing weight for no apparent reason, please get checked for diabetes.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Moore. You can find Dr. Moore at Family Health Centers. And thank you so much, Willie Johnson, for telling your story. Well, you've got it, folks. You got to increase your physical activity. You've got to eat right, and you've got to maintain your weight. I'm Kathy Andrews. Thank you so much for listening to Health Matters. I'll see you next week.